Power-ups in Cod Zombies have been one of the best features to ever been added to the mode, and I think we can all agree that the Zombies mode would not be the same without them. So with that being said, we will be now ranking every power-up from World at War to Vanguard from worst to best. To make this a little more interesting, I will be using a tier list as well, so you can see specifically where these will place. Let's start off with the obvious last place spot, going to Carpenter. This has to be hands down one of the useless power-ups to ever be included in the Zombies mode. It is probably the most underwhelming thing to see a Carpenter when a drop spawns, and I feel like I never want to even grab it because it just makes the spawns of the zombies slower. You also get a lousy 200 points for this power-up, which makes sense. It just rebuilds barriers, nothing much to it. Now I will say they're headed in the right direction when it came to Carpenter in Black Ops 4 and Cold War, as in Black Ops 4, a Carpenter would repair your zombie shield, and in Cold War, it repairs your shield. But other than that, there has been no other reason for me to want to pick up this drop in any game before Black Ops 4. So with that being said, we will place Carpenter where it deserves in the F tier. Next up, this may be a little controversial, but I have the Death Machine power-up. Now I think we all can't deny that this power-up is actually very good. The Death Machine does infinite damage for the most part. I feel like in the higher rounds, it feels like at like 2 shots or 3 shots. But this is basically a way for you to mow down zombies easily and save up on your ammo, especially into the higher rounds. The Death Machine power-up is also very good against boss zombies. As for example, think of the Grod Curvy boss fight with Nikolai. There is a strategy where you just use Death Machines and you can kill them in like 10 seconds. So this power-up is definitely useful and very good, but I find myself wanting to avoid picking this up half the time. I'm not sure what it is about it, but I just somehow don't like getting this power-up. Especially if you accidentally get it and you're like running around zombies, it could take some time to pull out and you get hit and die. This is the one placement I can say you can argue me on. This is probably the wrong placement, but I would feel that the Death Machine will fall into the D tier. Our next spot is a power-up that isn't really seen among many of the Call of Duty games, but it is full power that was first introduced in Black Ops 4. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this power-up. Honestly, I don't even dislike it, but its purpose, especially in Black Ops 4, I feel like it just doesn't fit for that type of game. You get your specialist weapons back very quickly in that game, and sure, it is nice when you can get a full power and then you can use your specialist weapon again very quickly. It's just not a power-up I would say is memorable. It definitely is a power-up I would love to see return in the next Treyarch game and see how they would implement it with whatever new features or what they'd even do with specialist weapons in that game. But I guess that is something we will have to wait till next year to figure out about. So with that being said, full power will end up at the bottom of C tier. Coming up next is a power-up that has a very memorable sound to it, and that is kaboom. The Nuke power-up is probably one of the most helpful drops that there is, but also one of the worst drops there is, but not worst in a bad way, if that makes any sense at all. I feel like nukes are very useful just depending on how you want to use them. For speedrunning, nukes can be great for certain strategies. For high rounds, they can help you just kill off some zombies easy and save some ammo. But I guess it could also slow down the zombie spawns, and that is definitely a negative of this drop, as I feel like, especially if you're just trying to go through the rounds quick, getting a nuke can just slow down the zombie spawns, and you're just waiting around, waiting for them to spawn back in, and it's just a waste of time. On early rounds, it can be a little bit annoying to get a nuke because you're just losing out on points, as nukes only give you 400 points. But the nuke drop is definitely a staple of zombies, and it's definitely a power-up I don't mind being in the game at all. Like, I want this to be in every game. But I think when it comes to a nuke, you have to be very strategic about it, and that is the only thing that kind of holds it back from being anywhere with being up in the A or S tier, your top 5 favorite drops. So I think the nuke should go right above full power in the C tier. Our next power-up we'll look at is probably one of my favorite ones, but I know it's not one of the best, but that is the bonus points or zombies cash power-up. I think when it comes to early rounds in zombies, points are the most essential thing ever, and getting one of these drops is one of the best feelings ever because it gives you that boost in points, no matter if it's zombie cash like on Origins where it can give you a range of points from like 400 to 1000, or even in Black Ops 3 where you could use the extra credit gobblegum and it'll give you 1500 points. But the negative and the downside of this power-up is that it has absolutely no use past probably round 25-30. With the little amount of points it would give you with how many points you would have on those rounds, I don't see myself really being excited or needing this power-up then. So I feel like that aspect of this power-up is what also takes it down from being like S or A. Objectively, could you say that this power-up is better than Death Machine 1? Probably not, but for some reason I just don't like Death Machine power-up, and it's just going to stay in D tier. But zombie points will sit nicely at the top of C tier, where I think it fits perfectly. Now the next 3 tiers with B, A, and S, all of these upcoming power-ups, these are all considered great or good, and I love probably absolutely every one of these upcoming power-ups. With that being said, we're gonna move on to Fire Sale, which is definitely my favorite power-up ever in Cod Zombies. So I don't know what it is about this power-up, but I just have an attraction to it. Something about it just is so nice. I think everyone can agree the music is great when this power-up is playing. The box only costs 10 points. With this being my favorite power-up, it's probably no surprise that my most used gobblegum in Black Ops 3 is Immolation Liquidation. I think I have like 360 uses. Now obviously I never had 360 Immolation Liquidations, but of course a lot of those uses came from force closing my game to save my gobblegums. And if I'm going into a game using gobblegum, this is always in my gobblegum setup. I think it's just one of those power-ups you pick up and you're just like actually excited to get. But of course, once it gets to the higher rounds, this power-up also falls flat. First off, you're probably set up by round 30, so after that point, there's no need to hit the box. And even if you need to hit the box, spending 950 points when you have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 points means nothing to you when you need to buy nothing else, maybe besides pack-a-punching or whatever it may be. If I was doing a favorite power-up tier list, this would definitely be an S tier for me, but realistically, this will go at the bottom of B tier. Now, Bonfire Sale is one power-up we very rarely see in Cod Zombies. It's probably my favorite thing about 5 besides the Pentagon Thief, and I think it's just slightly better than Fire Sale. Bonfire Sale makes it so you have to spend 5,000 points on Pack-a-Punch down to only 1,000. Now, of course, on the earlier rounds, spending 5,000 points can definitely leave a dent, and this helps you be able to get set up way quicker and earlier into the game. It's a drop I definitely want to see return. I think it's one that's not utilized enough, but I also like the grind to be able to rack up the amount of points you need to Pack-a-Punch, as if you get handed things too easily, then the setup for the game is too easy, then Zombies loses its replayability. The downside of this power-up is that, same with Fire Sale, past around 25-30, you're most likely going to be set up in Pack-a-Punch by then, so there is just absolutely no use for this power-up. But it's still really good, and one of the best power-ups to ever been created for the Zombies mode, so I think it should place right above Fire Sale in B tier, and at the top of B tier. Now, some of you may think this should go in S tier, but the free perk drop will not land in S tier in this ranking. Now, of course, getting a free perk as a power-up is probably one of the best things ever added in Zombies. If you already have 4 perks, you can now get another one. You have a shot to get a perk you really want if you don't have many points, like Jug or Widow's Wine, or whatever perk it may be depending on what game you're playing. Especially when this power-up is unlocked through challenges, it drives the player to want to complete those challenges, and it gives more replayability to the mode so you can get that free perk. Think about all the trials you can do in Black Ops 3 or even in Revelations with the wall run, but the downside of this one, and this is a huge one for me, it is a huge gamble if you want to get a free perk before you have your perk limit. And even when you have your perk limit, you're not guaranteed you're going to get the perk you want, and odds are you could just end up with Deadshot. It's also annoying if someone gets it before you even get your 4 perks, and then you're stuck with a perk you don't want, and the only way to get rid of it is by going down. With that all being said, the free perk power-up will land at the bottom of A tier. We now move on to double points, which is definitely one of the most helpful drops spanning the first 30 or so rounds. Now, yes, this may have some negatives like Fire Sale or Zombie Cash did, where past a certain point, like past round 30, this drop may not be as useful. Now, with how frequent the drop rate of this power-up is, it's one of the most beneficial power-ups to get. Like, it's early round, you need to get perks, you get double points, that's gonna help you get it to that goal sooner. This is hands down one of the best power-ups in Cod Zombies, and I think we all know this will never go anywhere, especially with not knowing how the point system will work in each game, as sometimes they like to switch it up, as they did with Black Ops 4 and Cold War. Maybe they did with Vanguard. Honestly, I don't know. I played one time and I said this game sucks and never went back to it, but that's besides the point. Double points definitely that power-up you see appear on your screen and you just feel very satisfied because you know you can rack up points and helps you move throughout the game a little bit quicker. Double points, in my opinion, should go right above the free perk drop in A tier. Moving on to another power-up which you have to unlock through challenges or certain ways in a map to get, but this is the free perk slot drop. And the reason it's this high is that this gives you the freedom that the free perk drop does not. In most COD Zombies games, you are stuck to a 4 perk limit, and getting a free perk slot to get a perk that you can specifically choose is huge. When there are so many perks in a game, when there's 8 or 9, and there are so many good ones, having that extra perk slot goes a long way. And same with the free perk power-up, this gives you another thing to do while playing Zombies to strive for and get. Now, this would have been a great power-up to have been seen more. I personally don't think you could rank this drop lower than A tier because it just provides you with getting an extra perk, and perks are the most important things to get when it comes to Zombies. And I don't think anyone can complain when you're able to get an extra slot. So with that being said, the extra perk slot power-up will go at the top of A tier. Now these next 3 are the great of the great power-ups. These are superior to everything below it. And to start off our S tier, we're gonna start with Zombie Blood. This has to be my favorite thing about Origins, as it's just such a unique power-up. And if you honestly compare this power-up to anything else we've talked about, there is nothing else like it. Of course, it's been adapted and evolved throughout Treyarch's lifespan, as we've seen in Plain Sight in Black Ops 3. We also saw it return in Black Ops 4 as an elixir, and of course, Aether Shroud in Cold War. Now, as much as I love those cool adaptations of this power-up, I wish those didn't exist and we just had Zombie Blood in every map for the most part. I can just imagine like those clutch moments where your buddy goes down, you need to get them up. It's a high round, a lot of zombies, but then you get a Zombie Blood and you can safely revive them if you don't have like a monkey or anything like that. And I wish we saw this power up in more maps. Regardless of any of that though, Zombie Blood is going at the bottom of S tier. Now there's only 2 drops left, and these 2 drops are the 2 most wanted drops I want while doing a high round attempt, and we'll first talk about Insta-Kill. The best thing about this drop, it's good no matter what round it is. There are very little instances where I don't want an Insta-Kill, but those are very specific moments. For example, getting an Insta-Kill on round 3 is not that helpful, but around 50, round 70, this is one of the best power-ups to get. On those high rounds, if you get insta-kill, it's kind of like a 30-second breather where you can just chill out and kill zombies very easily. And throughout the history of zombies, this power-up does help kill boss zombies a little bit easier. It may not apply to every boss zombie, but to some of them it does apply to. And speaking about that aspect of insta-kill, it makes me want to backtrack to where I placed the Nuke power-up, as nukes can also kill certain boss zombies when you get a Nuke power-up. But that's still staying in C tier. We're talking about insta-kill here. And it's just one of those power-ups that you have to include it in every zombies game. If this isn't around, then it just won't feel the same. So insta-kill, that's going to go right above Zombie Blood in the S tier. Now for our final power-up, which you classify as the #1 spot, is max ammo. Now I'm sure none of you will object where I'm placing this power-up. Let's just think about this for a second. How do you kill a zombie in Cod Zombies? You shoot your gun or your one weapon and use up your ammo. That is the main way of killing zombies. So a power-up that fills up your ammo stock, I don't know how much better you really can get than that. Now there is a feature in Cold War where you can buy your ammo, I think for like 10,000 when you have a pack-a-punch weapon, which that's a great feature. I honestly don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool you can buy ammo. But then the max ammo, it kind of means a little less. It's still extremely useful, but they're not as important. But that is just one game, and I will say this power-up is definitely the greatest power-up ever created for COD Zombies. If you're trying to go for around 100, I highly doubt you can do it without a max ammo. I know for me though, when I think of COD Zombies and their power-ups, the first 4 I think of is a max ammo, insta-kill, double points, and the Nuke. And in my opinion, it has to place at the top of S tier and is the most superior COD Zombies power-up. Now you may not agree with my ranking here, but I know personally I'm satisfied with this list. The only debatable placement for me is the Death Machine power-up, but that's just where I feel it places compared to the other power-ups that's above it. If you want to critique my ranking, feel free to leave your thoughts below. And if you want to personally use this tier list, there will be a link, like I said, in the description below. So other than that, that's the video. Make sure you like and subscribe so you're not that guy who doesn't subscribe, and I'll see you in bed.